Is now with us in studio, taking a look at what's making the headlines on some of the international papers. Good day again to you, Nicholas. We're going to start out there with that tension in Ferguson, Missouri.
Ferguson on edge. And that continues, doesn't it? We saw that after the resignation of the police chief, Thomas Jackson, that there were shootings at 2 police officers who were wounded. The New York Times is saying, well, the problem is actually bigger than Ferguson itself, the specific area. The towns around Ferguson are also subject to problems where minority citizens are being targeted to rake in fines. They're being criminalized. So civil abuses in the whole of St. Louis County, Eve.
Okay, now you were looking at some of the local papers there in Missouri as well, and a lot of them critical.
Well, the St. Louis Dispatch is talking about statements by the police following the shooting that we saw on Thursday. Now, it's saying that the police asked for the local community to be forthright about coming forward, turning criminals in, cooperating with the police. And the St. Louis Post-Dispatch is furious, really, saying, well, hold on, surely you could have said that same thing 7 or 8 months ago, last summer when Michael Brown was shot. Surely doesn't that occur to you? And so that paper is definitely worth going to check out the mood in what is going on in Ferguson. Fascinating.
Now, moving on from the US, one of the other top stories today is about President Vladimir Putin, Russian President Vladimir Putin, pretty much about where is he?
Well, Putin news is a whole industry, isn't it, in itself, which is their stories every day there. This is The Guardian asking, is Putin ill? Now, Vladimir Vladimirovich, Eve, has not been seen since the 5th of March. Now, you can see the Guardian's picture there shows him to be quite ill indeed. Now, he cancelled a visit to Kazakhstan earlier this week, and it was the Kazakh government who said, well, he has fallen ill. But when he was last seen on the 5th of March, it was with the Prime Minister of Italy, Matteo Renzi, and he looked perfectly fine then. So, of course, the speculation online about what's going on in the Kremlin is monstrous, as you can imagine. Let's turn to the Moscow Times, which is taking a broader look at the Putin question, asking why Russia is slamming the door on the West. And it says that what's happened this week is that Moscow has withdrawn from the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe, and that's just another step to its distancing from Europe and the rest of the world, really. Now, it says, the Moscow Times, that Putin's decision to annex Crimea, support the separatists in Ukraine, that's all about trying to depict itself as a superpower. But it's going the wrong way about it. Moscow Times saying, Putin, you're just an offended teenager. Stop it.
Okay, well, another situation now taking up a lot of paper space is the situation in Iraq and Syria. You've noticed one article, a report rather, from UNICEF talking about the 14 million children that are suffering from the conflict.
Not 40, but 14 million, but already a massive number, Eve, and that's being picked up by the Hurriyet Daily News and lots of the paper, and they picked up the press release from UNICEF, which is we should all look at, really, because it's quoting the situation as, well, think of the young children who between 4, 5, 6, 7, that's all they've ever known. In a way, the teenagers who are entering their formative years, it's shaping their mindset. So UNICEF has its message has been picked up by papers across the world. That crisis, of course, entering its 5th year. For a sense of the impact of what's going on in Syria and Iraq, let's go to one of the Arab language papers, a cartoon which, with the help of my Arab language colleague here from the channel that we have in Arabic, she showed me this. It's in Al-Watan, and it's a cartoon showing Iraq depicted as a blind man. Look at the eyes in the cartoon, one of them pointing to the past, a past of darkness. This is Iraq here. And in the future, pointing what is going to happen. So that's really quite staggering as an image.
Okay, well, before we end the international papers, I hope you're going to lift our spirits somewhat. I believe you spotted a story in the Daily Mail that made your jaw drop.
Well, talking about life as we know it out there and the difficulties we have at home, look at this in the Daily Mail about all those cold calls you get in your living room when you answer the phone. Turns out that 6 out of 10 Brits are not answering the phone anymore because of these nuisance calls. And that story there is saying that one company in the UK is able to generate 6 million cold calls a day.
Wow.
I just want to finish, Eve, on Frozen 2. Of course, all the press has jumped on this. This is one of the biggest franchises ever, the fifth biggest grossest moving. I'll say that again. The fifth biggest gross for a movie of all time, and what, over $1 billion of income from that.
Yeah, it's hard to meet anybody under 7 who wasn't absolutely enamoured with it. Nicholas Rushworth there with the international papers. Thanks indeed for that.